The night was cold and quiet. Park drove his delivery truck through the empty mountain roads near. It was almost midnight. His last delivery was done, and he just wanted to go home, eat some instant noodles, and sleep. The radio played old songs, hummed along, his eyes tired from the long day. He had been driving since 6 in the morning. His back hurt. His eyes were heavy, but the road home was only 30 minutes away. Then the sky broke open. A line of fire cut across the darkness above him. It was not a shooting star. It was too big, too bright, too close. Slammed his brakes and stared through the windshield as something massive screamed over his truck. The sound was terrible, like metal being torn apart. The object crashed into the forest ahead, and the ground shook beneath his wheels. Orange light bloomed between the trees. Smoke rose into the night sky. Sat frozen, his hands gripping the steering wheel. His heart pounded in his chest. Every smart part of his brain told him to drive away. Call the police. Let someone else deal with it. But something made him stop the truck and step outside. The air smelled like burning metal and something else, something strange and sharp that he could not name. Grabbed his flashlight from the truck and started walking toward the crash site. His boots crunched on fallen leaves. The forest was silent now, as if all the animals had run away. He walked for 10 minutes before he found it. The crater was huge, maybe 50 meters wide. Trees had been knocked down in every direction like broken toys. In the center of the destruction lay something that was definitely not an airplane. It was made of some kind of crystal or glass, now shattered and smoking. Pieces of it were scattered everywhere, glowing faintly with colors had never seen before. A spaceship. He was looking at an actual spaceship. His legs felt weak. He wanted to run. He wanted to pretend he never saw this. But then he heard it, a small sound coming from the wreckage. A voice. Someone was crying. He moved closer, stepping carefully over the broken pieces. The heat from the crash made his skin feel tight. His flashlight found her near what might have been the front of the ship. She was humanoid but not human. Her skin was pale blue, like a winter sky just before dawn. Her hair was silver white, long and tangled with debris. She wore some kind of suit that was torn and burned in several places, and she was bleeding, but her blood glowed soft gold in the darkness. She looked up at him and saw her eyes. They were amber-colored but fractured somehow, like broken glass that still held together. Those eyes were full of fear and pain. She raised one hand weakly, as if to protect herself. "Please," she whispered. Her voice was strange, like she was speaking through water, but he understood the word perfectly. "Please do not hurt me." Stood still. His mind was completely blank. He had no idea what to do. This was not something they taught you in school or in the military. There was no training for finding a bleeding alien woman in a crashed spaceship. She stared at him, waiting for him to attack. That was what she expected. He could see it in her eyes. She expected violence. Instead, slowly lowered himself to one knee. He placed his flashlight on the ground, so both his hands were visible and empty. "I am not going to hurt you," he said slowly. He did not know if she could understand him. "You are injured. I want to help." She watched him carefully. Her breathing was fast and shallow. Golden blood dripped from a wound on her forehead. She started, her voice shaking. "You can take me home, please." Looked around at the destroyed spaceship. Nothing here was going to fly again. Most of it was scattered across the forest in 1,000 pieces. He looked back at her, at this impossible blue woman from somewhere beyond the stars. "So," he said, scratching his head, "where do I crash?" She did not understand. Her face showed confusion instead of fear for a moment. "That was a joke," explained. "A bad one, sorry. I make jokes when I am nervous, and right now I am very nervous." She continued to stare at him. He realized that humor was probably not universal. "Okay, listen," said. "Your ship is destroyed. You are hurt. I do not know where your home is, but I do not think we can get there tonight. So first, let me take you somewhere safe and warm. We can figure out the rest later." She hesitated. Her whole body was tense, ready to fight or run despite her injuries. "Why?" she asked. "Why would you help me?" Thought about it, it was a good question. He did not know her. He did not know her species or where she came from. For all he knew, she could be dangerous. Her people could be enemies. There were 100 reasons to walk away. "Because you asked," he finally said, "and because you are hurt." Something changed in her fractured amber eyes. The fear did not disappear completely, but something else appeared alongside it. Surprise, maybe, or confusion. Slowly, carefully, moved closer. He took off his jacket and wrapped it around her shoulders. She flinched at his touch but did not pull away. "Can you walk?" he asked. I think so." He helped her stand. She was lighter than he expected, and she leaned heavily against him. Up close, she smelled like ozone and flowers he could not name. Together they walked slowly back toward his truck. It took a long time. She stumbled several times, and once she almost fell but held her steady. When they reached the truck, he helped her into the passenger seat. She looked around at the interior with wide eyes, studying the steering wheel, the radio, the old coffee cup in the holder. "This is your vehicle?" she asked. "Yes, it is not fancy, but it works. It moves on wheels, on the ground." "That is how trucks work, yes." She seemed amazed by this, as if ground transportation was somehow strange to her. Started the engine and turned the truck around. He had no plan. He had no idea what to do with an injured alien woman. He could not take her to a hospital. He could not call the police. He would take her to his apartment, give her food and water, clean her wounds, and then somehow he would figure out what came next. As he drove, he glanced at his strange passenger. She had pulled his jacket tight around herself and was looking out the window at the dark forest passing by. "What is your name?" he asked. She turned to look at him. "Ra, my name is Ra. I am Park, but you can call me." "Do," she repeated slowly, testing the sounds. "Close enough," he smiled slightly. "Welcome to Earth, Ra. Sorry about the rough landing." She did not smile back, but the fear in her eyes grew a little smaller. It was a start. 1 week passed, and small apartment became a strange place. Ross stayed in his bedroom while he slept on the old couch in the living room. Her wounds were healing slowly. The golden blood had stopped flowing after the first night, and the burns on her skin were fading to pale silver marks. She was stronger now, able to walk without help, but she was still weak. And she was still afraid. Noticed how she jumped at sudden sounds, how she watched the door whenever he left, how she ate the food he gave her only after he ate some first, as if testing for poison. He did not blame her. She was alone on a strange planet, surrounded by creatures she did not know. He would be scared too. He learned more about her during that week. She told him things in her soft, watery voice while he cooked simple meals in his tiny kitchen. She was a navigator, she said. Her people were called They were scholars and scientists, traveling between stars to study and learn. Her ship had been part of a research group, observing primitive worlds from a safe distance. Primitive worlds, had asked. Worlds that have not yet discovered faster-than-light travel. Worlds like yours. Ah, so we are the primitive ones. Yes, she had paused, but you are also something else. Your world is classified as a death world. Death world. The gravity is high, the predators are many, the climate is unstable, and the dominant species. She had looked at him with those fractured amber eyes. The dominant species is extremely dangerous. Laughed at that. Me, dangerous. I deliver packages for a living. But Ra did not laugh. Your species matches the profile of apex persistence predators. You evolved to chase prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. You can survive damage that would kill most species. You eat other animals. You wage war against your own kind. She shook her head slowly. In the galaxy, humans are considered monsters that had made quiet for a long time. He went to work during the days, making his deliveries while worrying about his alien guest. He bought extra food. He brought home books and showed her how to use his old laptop to learn about Earth. She absorbed information like a sponge, reading for hours about human history, culture, and science. Some things amazed her, some things confused her, and some things terrified her. "You split the atom," she said one evening, her voice full of horror. "You created weapons that could destroy cities, and then you used them against your own species." "That was a long time ago," said quietly. "It was less than 100 years. That is nothing." He had no answer for that. On the seventh day, everything changed. Was at work when his phone rang. It was his younger sister, Park. She was a university student studying engineering in Seoul. She sometimes visited without warning, using the spare key he kept under the mat. "Opa," she said, and her voice was very strange. "There is a blue woman in your apartment." Almost crashed his truck. By the time he got home, was sitting on his couch with Ra. They were both drinking tea. Looked like her entire understanding of reality had collapsed. Ra looked nervous but calm. "You have a sister," Ra said when he walked in. "Yes," glared at, "a sister who should call before visiting." "You have an alien," replied. "An actual alien in your apartment, and you did not tell me." "How was I supposed to tell you? Send a text message. Hey, found a crashed spaceship alien staying in my room, do not worry about it." Stood up and paced around the small room. She was shorter than, with the same dark hair and sharp eyes. But where he was calm and steady, she was always moving, always thinking. "This is the most important discovery in human history," she said. "First contact with an extraterrestrial species, and you are hiding her in your apartment and feeding her." "I did not know what else to do." "You could have called me. You would have panicked." "I am panicking now." Ra watched them argue back and forth. "Is this normal behavior for human siblings?" she asked. "Yes," they both said at the same time. Took a deep breath and sat back down. She looked at Ra with intense curiosity. "Okay," she said. "Tell me everything. Your species, your technology, why you are here, all of it." Over the next several hours, Ra told her story again. But there were more questions. Technical questions about the ship, about faster-than-light travel, about the distress beacon that Ra had been trying to repair. "Can I see the beacon?" asked. Ra hesitated, then pulled a small device from the bag of belongings had salvaged from the crash site. It was made of the same crystal material as the ship, about the size of a smartphone, with symbols carved into its surface. Studied it carefully. She was not a genius, but she was smart and curious. She borrowed tools from his toolbox and spent hours examining the device under a lamp. "This is not broken," she finally said. "What?" Ra moved closer. "The circuits or whatever these are, they are not damaged from the crash. Look here," pointed at something inside the device. "This part has been cut, deliberately. Someone sabotaged this before your ship was attacked." Ra's blue face went pale. "That is impossible. Who would?" "Someone on your ship," suggested. "Someone who knew the attack was coming." The room went silent. Ra sat down slowly, her hands shaking. "If the beacon was sabotaged," she whispered, "then the attack was planned. Someone wanted to make sure no one could call for help. Someone wanted us dead." "Or someone wanted you specifically," said quietly, "alive and unable to escape." Felt a cold weight settle in his stomach. This was bigger than a simple crash, bigger than a rescue. Someone had tried to capture Ra, and they had killed her entire crew to do it. And they might still be looking for her. "Can you fix it?" he asked his sister. Looked at the alien device in her hands. "I do not know. This technology is way beyond anything I have ever seen. But maybe, if Ra helps me understand how it is supposed to work." "I will help," Ra said immediately. I do not understand all of it, but I know the basics. For the next 3 days, barely slept. She worked on the beacon with Ra, learning alien science through broken explanations and hand gestures, brought them food and coffee and worried. Something was coming, he could feel it. On the 10th day after the crash, got the beacon working. It sent out a signal, reaching toward the stars. And something answered. But it was not the. They came at night. 3 ships landed in the forest outside, silent and invisible. The creatures inside were not interested in being seen. They had tracked the signal from the beacon, followed it across the stars, and now they had found their prey. They were hunters. That was their purpose, their culture, their entire reason for existing. They captured and sold living beings to the highest bidder. They were valuable, especially scholars and navigators who carried knowledge worth fortunes on the black markets of 100 worlds. One female had survived their raid. Now they would collect her. The 3 who left the ships were tall and thin, with gray skin stretched tight over sharp bones. Their eyes were black, without any white, and their mouths were filled with teeth designed for tearing flesh. They wore armor that shifted and changed color to match their surroundings. They expected an easy job. Earth was a death world, yes, but the natives were primitive. No space travel, no energy weapons, no threat. They were wrong. Was returning from a late delivery when his phone rang. It was, and she was screaming. They found us. There are things outside the apartment. Gray things with black eyes. Ross says they are hunters, they are here for her. Lock the door, hide in the bathroom, I am coming. He drove like a madman through the streets of. His old truck screamed in protest as he pushed it far beyond its limits. His heart pounded. His hands were slick with sweat on the steering wheel. He arrived at his apartment building to find the front door broken open. There were scratches on the walls of the stairwell, deep gouges from something with claws. Grabbed the tire iron from his truck and ran inside. He found them in the hallway outside his apartment. 2 had cornered Ra and near the broken door. The aliens were talking to Ra in a language did not understand, but their body language was clear. They were enjoying her fear. Hey, shouted. They turned. Their black eyes studied him without emotion. Native life form, one of them said in heavily accented but understandable speech. Leave now. This does not concern you. She is with me, said, so it does concern me. They made a sound that might have been laughter. You wish to fight us. You are soft, weak, 1 human against 2 warriors. Tightened his grip on the tire iron. His military training was screaming at him to run. These things were taller than him, armed with weapons he did not recognize, covered in armor. He had a metal stick. But behind him, Ra was shaking with terror and was pressing herself against the wall, trying to be invisible. He was not going to run. Last chance, he said. Leave now. They attacked. They were fast, faster than any human could be. The first one reached him before he could react, its clawed hand slashing at his chest. The blow sent him crashing into the wall. Pain exploded through his ribs. But got up. They paused. They had seen other species fall from less. This human should be screaming on the ground. Instead, he was standing again, blood soaking through his shirt, the tire iron still in his hand. That hurt, said, and then he attacked. He was not faster than them, he was not stronger, but he had something they did not expect. He had determination that went beyond reason. When they cut him, he kept fighting. When they knocked him down, he got back up. When one of them broke his left arm with a savage strike, he screamed in pain and swung the tire iron with his right. The metal connected with the first's face. Black blood sprayed. The alien stumbled back, one of its eyes destroyed. The second made a sound of shock. No primitive should be able to hurt them. No prey should be able to fight back like this. Did not give it time to think. He threw himself at the creature, ignoring the agony in his broken arm, ignoring the blood running down his body. He swung the tire iron again and again, hitting the weapon arm until something cracked. The alien shrieked and dropped its weapon, then heard the roar of an engine. His car came flying down the street. It jumped the curb and slammed directly into the third, who had been approaching from behind. The impact was tremendous. The alien went flying, its body broken against the hood of her car. Stumbled out of the driver's seat, her face white with shock. "I hit it," she said, her voice distant. "I hit it with my car." The two remaining looked at each other. One was blinded. One had a shattered arm. Their third member was not moving. They ran. Watched them disappear into the darkness. Then his legs gave out and he collapsed to the ground. Ra rushed to his side. Her hands hovered over his wounds, not knowing how to help. "Why?" she asked, her voice breaking. "Why would you do this? You could have died. You almost died for me, a stranger." Looked up at her. His vision was blurry with pain. Blood was everywhere. He could not feel his left arm anymore. "I told you before," he managed to say. "You asked for help." Tears fell from Ra's amber eyes, golden tears that glowed in the darkness. "Your species makes no sense," she whispered. "I know," he said, and then he passed out. He woke up in a hospital 3 days later, had come up with a story about a car accident. The doctors were confused by some of his injuries but did not ask too many questions. His old military friend did ask questions. He was a police officer now and he had seen the bodies. One had died from the car impact. The other two had fled back to their ships, but they left blood behind. Black blood that was definitely not human. "Tell me everything," said, sitting beside's hospital bed. Told him. When he finished, was silent for a long time. "So," he finally said, "aliens are real. They want to kidnap your blue friend, and you fought them with a tire iron." "Yes." Shook his head slowly. "You are insane." "Probably. They will come back, more of them, better prepared." Nodded he knew. Stood up and looked out the window at the city below. "Then we need to be ready," he said, "and we need more people." The war was just beginning. They did not make the same mistake twice. When their hunters reported what had happened on the Death World, the commander was furious. 3 warriors sent to capture 1 helpless female, and they had been defeated by primitives. 1 dead, 2 wounded, their mission failed. This time he sent 12. 12 warriors landed outside 1 week after the first attack. They came with better weapons, better armor, and a clear plan. Kill anyone who interfered, leave no witnesses. But was ready for them. Had spent the week making calls. He contacted old military friends, fellow police officers, anyone he trusted who could fight. He told them the truth, as crazy as it sounded. Some did not believe him, but enough did. Ra helped too. She studied the technology from the dead warrior, explaining what she could too. The weapons were complex, but some of them could be used by humans with practice. The armor had weaknesses, especially at the joints. And brilliant and determined, created surprises of her own. Traps built from technology and human ingenuity. Things that would slow the hunters down, hurt them, make them vulnerable. When they tracked Ra's signal to an old warehouse on the edge of town, they expected to find a small group of frightened primitives. Instead, they found an army. 30 humans waited inside and around the warehouse. They were not soldiers anymore, not officially, but they remembered their training. They remembered how to fight. Some carried guns, some carried clubs and knives. A few had managed to learn how to use the captured weapons. Stood at the front, his left arm still in a cast, an energy weapon in his right hand. Was somewhere in the back ready to trigger her traps. Was beside him, a pistol in each hand. And Ra stood behind them all, watching with wide amber eyes. "You should not be here," she had told earlier. "You are injured, you almost died." "I know." "Then why are you fighting again?" He had looked at her for a long moment. Because this is what humans do. We protect the people we care about. We fight for things that matter. And you matter, Ra. She had not known how to respond to that. Now, as they approached the warehouse, felt fear crawling through his body. 12 warriors, all armed, all deadly. His side had numbers, but they had technology and training designed for exactly this kind of violence. The commander stepped forward. He was larger than the others, his armor marked with symbols that probably meant something important. "Surrender he called out, his voice amplified by some device, "and we will leave your primitive world in peace. Resist and you will all die." Raise the energy weapon. His hand was shaking, but his voice was steady. "Last chance," he said. "Leave now." The commander made that horrible laughing sound. "You are outnumbered, primitive. You cannot possibly win." Smiled grimly. "No, you are outnumbered." The commander looked around at the warehouse, at the humans surrounding it. For the first time, a flicker of doubt crossed his alien face. "Attack," he ordered. They charged. What happened next was chaos and blood and screaming. The traps activated first, had rigged the approach with modified explosives, pressure plates, and tripwires. 2 went down before they even reached the warehouse, their legs destroyed by blasts of energy. Then the humans opened fire. They were fast, dodging and weaving through the gunfire. Their armor absorbed most of the bullets, but not all of them, and every time a shot found a gap, an alien stumbled. Close combat began when they reached the warehouse doors. This was where things became desperate. Fired his energy weapon until it ran out of charge, then dropped it and picked up a metal pipe. He fought like a man possessed, swinging at anything with gray skin. A claw tore across his back. He screamed and kept fighting. Beside him, emptied both pistols into a charging warrior, then used the empty guns as clubs when it kept coming. The finally fell when a young woman, a former soldier named Bay, buried a kitchen knife in its throat. People died. A police officer named was killed by an energy blast that burned through his chest. A retired soldier named went down fighting 2 at once, taking one of them with her. A civilian named, who had only come because his brother asked him to, was torn apart by claws. 3 humans dead, but the fighting continued. They had never faced anything like this. They had conquered dozens of species, and all of them had eventually stopped fighting. When the pain became too great, when the losses mounted, other species surrendered or fled. Humans did neither. When one human fell, another took their place. When weapons were lost, they used their hands and teeth. They screamed and bled and died, and they never, ever stopped. The commander realized, too late, that he had made a terrible mistake. By dawn, it was over. 8 lay dead. The other 4 had tried to flee but had anticipated that. His people were waiting outside with vehicles, and one by one, the hunters became the hunted. The warehouse floor was covered in blood, both red and black. The survivors sat among the bodies, exhausted and wounded. Was barely conscious, his back torn open, his body pushed far beyond its limits. But they had won. Ra walked through the aftermath in a daze. She had never seen violence like this. They were peaceful. They had no warriors, no weapons, no concept of fighting to the death for someone else. She knelt beside, tears streaming down her blue face. 3 of your people are dead, she whispered. They died for me. Why? They did not even know me. Looked up at her with tired eyes. Because you needed help, because it was the right thing to do. That makes no sense. I know, but that is what being human means. Appeared beside them, her clothes torn and dirty, a weapon still clutched in her hands. She was shaking badly, but her voice was firm. The beacon is ready, she said. The real signal this time, the one for I fixed it during the fighting. We can send it now. Ra activated the beacon with trembling fingers. A beam of light shot up into the sky, carrying a message across the stars. Help us, we are here, please come. The response came within hours. A ship appeared in Earth's orbit, sleek and silver and beautiful. They had received the signal. They were coming to bring Ra home. But as she prepared to leave, Ra realized something that changed everything. She did not want to go. The diplomatic vessel was unlike anything had ever imagined. It hung in Earth's orbit like a second moon, shining silver against the blackness of space. Inside, everything was made of that same crystal material as Ra's crashed ship, but unbroken and beautiful. Light seemed to flow through the walls. The air smelled like the ocean after a storm. Stood on an observation deck, looking down at Earth through a window that seemed to have no glass at all. The planet looked so small from here, so fragile. Behind him, a group of officials were talking with Ra in their flowing language. They had been talking for hours, asking questions about her crash, her rescue, the humans who had fought and died for her. They were confused. Had seen it in their faces when he first came aboard. They looked at him the way a person might look at a wild animal that had wandered into their home, cautious, uncertain, a little afraid. To them he was a monster, a predator from a death world. But they were also curious. The story of what had happened had spread through their ship quickly. A species of primitives, without space travel or advanced weapons, had fought and defeated the. They had done it to save one woman they had no obligation to help. They did not understand why. A soft voice interrupted thoughts. "You are thinking very hard." He turned to find Ra standing beside him. She had changed into clothing, long robes of silver and blue that matched her skin. She looked healthier now, her wounds healed by alien medicine, her amber eyes no longer filled with fear. "I am thinking about how strange everything is," he admitted. "A month ago, I was just a delivery driver. Now I am standing on an alien spaceship. Life changes quickly sometimes." "Yes, it does." They stood together in silence, looking at Earth below. The clouds moved slowly across the continents. Somewhere down there was probably working on some piece of alien technology, trying to understand it. Was probably dealing with the aftermath of the battle, making sure no one talked about what had really happened. The families of the 3 who died were probably still mourning. "The Council has made a decision," Ra said quietly. "Oh." "They want to establish formal contact with Earth, trade, technology exchange, protection from species like the." She paused. "They want to bring humanity into the galactic community." Felt his breath catch. That is huge." "It is, and they want you to be part of it, as an advisor, a representative." "Me?" He laughed, short and disbelieving. "I am nobody, I deliver packages." "You saved my life. You fought impossible enemies and won. You showed what humanity can be when it chooses to protect instead of destroy." Ra turned to face him fully. "You are exactly the kind of person they need to understand your species." Did not know what to say. This was too much, too big. He was not prepared for any of it. "Can I ask you something?" he said finally. "Of course." "Why did you crash on Earth in the first place? Of all the planets in the galaxy, why here?" Ra's expression became complicated, sad and thoughtful at the same time. "We were studying you," she said. "Your species, trying to understand how such a dangerous world could produce intelligent life. We kept our distance, observed from far away, but something went wrong. The sabotage, the attack, it all happened so fast." She shook her head. "I always thought humans were something to be feared. The reports all said you were violent, unpredictable, barely controlled chaos walking on 2 legs. And now—" She smiled, a strange expression on her blue face. "Now I think those reports were incomplete. Yes, you are violent. Yes, you are dangerous, but you are also kind, loyal, willing to sacrifice everything for people you barely know." She reached out and touched his hand gently. "You confused me, you still confuse me, but I think I am starting to understand." "Understand what?" "That the same instincts that make you dangerous also make you beautiful. You protect your pack. even when the pack includes strangers. You fight against impossible odds because giving up is not in your nature. You found a bleeding alien woman in a crashed ship, and instead of running or attacking, you wrapped her in your jacket and made bad jokes. Felt his face grow warm. It was a very bad joke. It was, but it was also exactly what I needed. Ra squeezed his hand. You asked me once where you needed to crash to take me home. I think I finally have an answer. Oh, nowhere, because I have requested to stay on Earth, permanently. Stared at her. You want to stay, but your people, your home. My people are scholars. We go where there are things to learn. And right now, the most interesting thing in the galaxy is your species. She smiled again, wider this time. Besides, someone needs to study you impossible creatures. Make sure you do not accidentally start a war or offend some ancient civilization. Very thoughtful of you. I try. They stood together as the earth turned slowly below them. Somewhere down there, life was continuing. People were going to work, cooking meals, arguing with their siblings, completely unaware that the universe had just become much larger. So said, when we go back down, what happens? Many things, meetings, negotiations, the slow process of introducing your world to the rest of the galaxy. Ra tilted her head thoughtfully. It will probably take years, decades maybe. Sounds complicated. It will be. Nodded slowly. He thought about his small apartment, his delivery truck, his simple life that was now completely gone. He thought about who would probably be ecstatic to have access to alien technology. He thought about who would hate all the political complications. He thought about the 3 people who had died in the warehouse, who would never see what their sacrifice had made possible. I have one condition, he said. Ra raised an eyebrow. A condition. I still need to work. I cannot just sit around being a representative all day. That would drive me crazy. What did you have in mind? Grinned. I was thinking maybe deliveries. Interplanetary ones once we figure out how. Someone has to carry packages between worlds, right? Ra laughed. It was a beautiful sound, like bells and water mixed together. I think that can be arranged. Good, and you can help. Navigate, translate, keep me from accidentally insulting alien royalty. You are asking me to work for you. I am asking you to work with me, partners. She considered this for a moment. Then she nodded, her amber eyes bright with amusement and something warmer. Partners, she agreed. Below them, Earth continued its ancient dance around the sun, unaware that everything had changed. The stars waited above, full of wonders and dangers and possibilities that humanity was only beginning to imagine. And in a hospital inn, Park was already sketching designs for Earth's first interstellar delivery truck. Some things never changed. Some things were just beginning. And somewhere in the vastness of space, the story of the death world and its impossible people was spreading. Other species heard about the humans who fought hunters with metal sticks and vehicles. They heard about the primitive world that had won its first battle against the stars. Some were afraid. Some were curious. And a few, just a few, looked toward Earth with something like hope. Because in a galaxy full of ancient empires and dying civilizations, there was something new, something strange, something that made no logical sense but burned with a fire that could not be ignored. Humanity had arrived, and the universe would never be the same.